and the first two witnesses, a male escort and a former security guard, were called. A jury of 8 men and 4 women will decide his fate.
Someone that the world came to know as Puffy or Puff or Puff Daddy or Diddy or Love. Criminal enterprise with trusted insiders whose goal was to coerce women.
The highly anticipated trial against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is officially underway. And today was nothing short of a whirlwind. Inside that courtroom, a jury was seated, opening statements were delivered, and not one, but 2 witnesses took the stand, a male escort and a former security guard. We'll get to their explosive testimonies in just a moment. Now, while cameras are not allowed in court, our team was right there, watching, listening, and capturing every moment as it unfolded. Prosecutors didn't hold back. They laid out the government's case against one of the most recognizable names in entertainment. To the public, he's Puff Daddy, Diddy, a larger-than-life businessman and cultural icon. But according to the prosecution, there's a much darker story behind the fame. They painted Combs as controlling, manipulative, and violent. They alleged that for decades, he ran a criminal enterprise from within his own trusted inner circle. The courtroom listened as prosecutors described harrowing allegations, saying Combs forced victims into days-long drug-fueled sexual encounters. They called them freak-offs or wild king nights. The defense, on the other hand, told a different story. They admitted Combs is a complicated man, but argued that this is not a complicated case. His attorney pointed to the now infamous video showing Combs dragging and kicking his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Yes, the defense said, it is disturbing. Yes, it clearly shows domestic violence. But no, they argued, it is not evidence of sex trafficking. Inside the courtroom today, Combs' family stood by him. His mother and children were all seen arriving in support as he faces 5 serious charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. If convicted, Combs could face a potential life sentence. He has denied all allegations. Now, the decision rests with a jury of 8 men and 4 women, who will determine his fate. There's a lot to unpack from this jam-packed first day in court. So let's go straight to our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, who was inside the courtroom for today's proceedings. Aaron, opening statements were made today. Break down the arguments for us. This is what Aaron Katersky said from inside the courtroom. They really set the tone for the entire case. You mentioned the kind of Jekyll and Hyde portrayal by prosecutors. Someone that the world came to know as Puffy, or Puff, or Puff Daddy, or Diddy, or Love. Somebody who was larger than life, who was a mogul in multiple industries, and yet who had a darker side. A lot of celebrities have an entourage around them. But Sean Combs, according to federal prosecutors in their opening statement, operated as a criminal enterprise with trusted insiders whose goal was to coerce women into these drug-fueled performances. Some of them, prosecutors said, lasted for days and were referred to by Combs as freak-offs or wild king nights. The defense sought to downplay these episodes, calling them the consensual of a celebrity who led a swinger's lifestyle. And though they conceded that Combs could be violent with women, even women that he loved and was in a relationship with, they said he's not charged with being violent. He's not charged with domestic violence, with assault even. They said he's charged with sex trafficking. And that what's depicted on the video from the Los Angeles hotel in 2016 and in other episodes may show Combs being violent, but doesn't show him being a sex trafficker. And they say it wasn't part of any racketeering conspiracy as alleged. End of quoting. We also saw Sean Combs' family entering the courthouse earlier today. Did he interact with them at all? And this is what Aaron Katersky told us in response. He did, right from the start. He came into court, even all smiles, as his eyes immediately locked onto his family seated in the second row, his sons and daughters, his mom, all there to support him. He blew them kisses in court, made gestures across his heart. But once the opening statements began, Combs was much more dispassionate. At one point, as a man who says he was paid to have sex with Cassie Ventura while Sean Combs sat in the corner masturbating, Combs pushed his chair away from the defense table. His arms went down and he crossed his legs, listening impassively to all of this. At that point, when the male escort was testifying, his daughters left the room. End of quoting. One of the witnesses was former Intercontinental Hotel security guard Israel Flores. He testified about responding to that now infamous incident, the one involving Sean Combs and his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, who's also a key witness in this case. How did Flores describe that day? And here's how Aaron Katersky described that testimony. He set the tone by, immediately as the first witness, taking jurors back to 2016. It was March 5th when Flores said he responded to a call from hotel staff about a woman in distress on the 6th floor. He goes up the elevator and sees Sean Combs sitting in a chair with what he described as a devilish stare, and Cassie Ventura, clearly shaken. He walked the jury through hotel security footage, some of it played outright by prosecutors, some of it Flores had captured on his phone. And it shows the detail of what occurred. There is Cassie. She's in blue pants and a hoodie. She's not wearing any socks. She reaches into a bag at the elevator, and as she's putting on her socks, Combs comes barreling around the corner, knocks her down from behind, stomps on her, and the episode continues from there. End of quoting. I have to ask you, we're seeing these sketches of Diddy in court, and he looks very different from how many may remember him appearing. Tell us, how does he look? And here's what Aaron Katersky had to say. Well, he's certainly much grayer. You know, we've seen him that way over his last few court appearances, but people who may be tuning in and seeing him for the first time here at the onset of trial, he's not allowed to color his hair in jail while he's incarcerated. So, he's gone gray, both his hair and his beard. He's thinner than we saw him, certainly thinner than when he was first arrested, much less bloated than he appeared at that September date. And he is, right now, impassive as prosecutors have control, describing what they say he did. End of quoting. That wraps up day one of Sean Diddy Combs' trial, an emotional and intense start to a case the world is watching closely. We'll be following every development as it unfolds, so stay tuned with us for the latest updates, testimonies, and courtroom moments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss a single detail. Thanks for watching!